Hi everyone. Hey Arslan. Hey Sachin.
Hello, bro.
Hey bro. Hey bro. How are you?
Fine. You tell.
We are gonna wait for another couple of minutes. Once everyone joins, then we can.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. That would be easier. So in the meantime, do you wanna all like have a quick chat, like simply like a normal chat? Go for it, guys. So everyone is not muted. Okay. So if you want to talk, please unmute yourself and start talking. That's completely fine. Let's this be a casual talk for the first few minutes until everyone comes, and then we will carry on from then. Oh, we have Jagdish as well. Hi Jagdish.
Hello.
We are just having a
Am I
casual
audible?
talk, like just slightly introducing everyone, and then
Oh, okay.
we'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is what discussing?
So
Did I miss
today
anything?
we will be going about so a lot of people have attended the GFG webinar like few days ago, and the rebound was
Okay.
like extremely good. A lot of people tried to talk to me, but I was not able to answer most of their queries. So what I thought was, okay, today we will
Mhm.
host another webinar kind of thing, and then try to answer as much as questions possible. So this is what is the plan.
Okay. Okay. So who kind of audience?
Um, guys, introduce
Wo-
yourselves, please.
wo-
There,
Working
there are right now
professionals or
8 people.
students? Okay.
Hey, Safin.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. So, can everyone introduce yourself as well? So that would be nice.
Mm, First of all, I am giving my interview.
Nice.
My name
Congrats, man.
my name is Safin Guaburi, and I am a student of BCA and just completed React and want to go for Munstack.
Okay. Stack is really good. It is getting a good traction nowadays, both in India as well as in UK and a lot of other places as well. So that's actually a good choice. Awesome.
Can I ask my question or at
Yeah,
the
go
end?
on. I guess we can actually even start the session in like 10 or 5 minutes maybe. Okay, guys, everyone okay with that? Because not many people have actually joined. Until then, if you want to ask something personal or something like that, just go for it, and we can have a quick chit chat, and then let's get into the real session. What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, Praveen.
Hi, bro. many people are trying to access the Zoom. A lot of people are very new to Zoom, so I'm just trying to guide them as well. Um, so bear with me. Until then, can others can actually talk. Like, okay, I'll just call out the names, which is kind of rude here, but still, I'll ask one by one to introduce yourself on the order of here. So I could see after Safin there is okay, Jaga. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello all. Praveen. Okay, yeah. So I'm totally new to this React world, and I'm totally inspired with React after I got introduced with Praveen. I'm actually working on different technologies, but Praveen is my inspiration on React, and I started liking it. So fingers crossed. Yeah.
Okay, the next person in the list is Apeksha. Apeksha, do you want to say something, like just a quick introduction about yourself?
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Apeksha Gunarkar from Nagpur. I'm currently pursuing engineering from Cummins College of Engineering for Women's Nagpur. I'm in third year.
Nice. Okay. Uh,
Yes.
Safin, you already talked, right? Arslan?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone would like to introduce? Just say a hi or something like that. Go on. Hey, Sachin. Sachin, you talk now. It's your chance now. You have to say something.
Hello everyone, my name is Sachin Korla. I am computer science engineering student and I am the part of internal team. Parveen is also the part of internal team. And so it's
Dude, say something, dude. That's all. What is interview doing, and
what
how are you
what
supporting the students? You are actually a great fellow.
oh
Just
no no no.
talk about interval and what exactly you're trying.
Hello.
A lot of them are like trying to ask you what is internal and what exactly are you doing. So this is a good chance
Okay,
for
okay,
you to
yeah,
like.
yeah, okay. So actually, internal is social startup through which we can work on the like student part and also underprivileged people. We are supporting underprivileged students for giving them new technology experience or providing them essential resources, and also we provide mentorship to students from different mentors. Also, we have mentors on board like Parveen and also the founder of GeeksforGeeks, coding blog founder, and many more. Also, some persons from AICT. So that's it. You
Okay,
can check the website internal.com.
thanks, Sachin. Okay, I
My pleasure.
yeah. I guess we can go now. Let's officially start the session. Hi everyone. So I'm Praveen. I'm from Chennai originally. Currently, I'm in London, UK. I'm working with a lot of different companies, and I'm kind of like a consultant. I've been working with Facebook, Microsoft, etc. previously, like in a consultant level, and also I've been um, currently looking out for helping people in the current situation. The COVID situation is like really new to a lot of people, and everyone is like right now locked down in their homes. And this is exactly the situation where we need to help each other, right? So I thought of like sharing my experiences, and a lot of people wanted to know how to better cope up with the situation and how things to be done. And what happened was recently Geek for Geeks said like let's go for a webinar, and Shashi was like interviewing me asking me a lot of questions related to what do you say careers and full stack development, etc., which is currently booming like anything. So this time, what I thought was after the interview was over, my LinkedIn and WhatsApp were like completely bombarded with a huge number of requests, and that was like really hard for me to handle. At the same time, I wanted to personally thank everyone. At the same time, I want to personally message everyone as well, since as a single person I was not able to handle that. So I thought, okay, why don't I, since there are like loads and loads of people having a lot of different questions on careers, on what to say, like the technologies, the trends, etc. I thought of like, let me go online and like, let me host a webinar myself. This is the first time, guys. This is the first time I'm hosting a webinar like this, and obviously I don't have much experience in hosting webinars, so I need your support in that. And I really wanted this to be an interactive webinar, so that like it's not just me talking. So I want you all as well to interact with me, because everyone would like to know a lot, right? Like um, I've got like so many messages telling like this is something which I want to know, and there are like lots of things. I'm ready to share everything. So this is the best time and place. So I hope everyone will be free for at least an hour and a half or something like that. So it would be a nice time right now to talk about these things. So first, I would like to give a quick brief intro about myself, and then what all things I'm currently working on, and how I came here and stuff like that, so that that gives you like a basic idea of what can be done at this situation. And at the same time, during this COVID situation, even I am like completely working from home and other things, and still it's been like more than a month's time since I have stepped out of my home for work, and it's been really hectic managing myself all alone and stuff like that. So these are a few things like professionally we can talk a lot about this, and it's this would be a good platform for a lot of people to know a lot on how things work in the UK, how are the carriers. And in case, I know this is a completely a wrong time to say like, hey, the job prospects are here, very good, do you want to come to UK? That's the wrong timing here. But definitely there will be a lot of people who would like to explore countries outside India as well. So you can also ask uh, the stuff here. So there are a few industry experts here as well in the webinar. So definitely they will be able to help me out or help you out in case of like, if you have any questions on careers, job prospects, how to get into a work, like work permits, universities in the UK, etc. There are like loads and loads of things that you can think about asking. So yeah, so um, see, this is the complete agenda. And what do you think, guys? Is this going to be good, perfect? Okay, you can either use the chat box. So Zoom has a chat functionality here. Use the everyone in that, and then you can start typing your messages, queries, or you can even unmute yourself. This is not something like only I am talking and you're not all talking. So anyone can talk now. It's like completely freedom, right? Like that's what people need. So yeah, so to say a bit about myself, so I'm from India. I'm from Chennai. I did my masters in cloud computing. So I came here to University of Leicester. Leicester is the place where it's in East Midlands. I came here for my masters. I did my masters in cloud computing September 2013, and during my course, it's actually a 1 year course. Generally, in the masters in the UK are just 1 year, but at the same time there are some universities that allow you to work full time for about like 8 months. 8 months is like 1/3 of your 2 year course. So let's consider my 1 year course. They said like with industry is 2 years. So 2 years out of it, 1/3 is 8 months. So 8 months you are allowed to work full time without any visa or anything. If you want to come to UK, you need, obviously, if you want to travel out of India, first thing you need a passport, and then the second thing is you need a visa for the concerned country where you are traveling to. And for UK, you need either a student visa or a visit visa or a work permit to come inside. This is the most general common route. So I came inside through a student visa, and I did my master's in cloud computing. So in this thing, we had 8 months of full-time work, and I was able to get into a startup where I was working as a growth hacker. So I did my master's in cloud computing, came out with distinction. Then I got placed in Accenture UK, direct placement here. There is, and one more thing, guys, there are nothing called as placements or like, campus placements in UK. Uh, I guess most of the universities don't offer that because everything is like do it yourself kind of thing, but that actually helps you in a lot different way. So yeah, I attended about like 10 to 15 different companies, which is the lowest I guess I have seen. Like minimum people were attending at least 100 companies, and then they get selected into 2 or 3, but I just attended only 15. And before even I graduated, I was able to get into a company. So that's something which I wanted to say. So there are like few tips and tricks in that way, how you can actually ace your interviews and other things. And with Accenture, I was working full time on full stack. Actually, I joined as a user experience person, and then I was working in front end. And the scope of front end and full stack has got like increased a lot in this last maybe 5 years or so. Let's take from 2015 itself. So for the past 5 years, it's been like skyrocketed like anything. And apart from that, after working with Accenture for 2.5 years, I worked with a startup. So but even that startup is like a small service-based company similar to Accenture. It was like a mini Accenture. Even there, we were using full stack web application development. So for those who are wondering, I was working on .NET initially in that small startup, but I did not have the good feel of it, so I went into MERN stack. So I believe like a lot of people are looking forward for MERN stack, and there are like loads and loads of opportunities for .NET people, Java, J2EE people, as well as JavaScript people. So for people who are working with Python, learning Python and machine learning, you guys are awesome because it's also getting a lot of um, good traction as well. Um, and apart from this, yeah, currently I'm right now in London, but I'm not with I'm being a consultant with working with a lot of multiple different companies, and the technology trend is like going really extreme here. So even in this COVID situation, people are like looking for employees who have skill set in particular niche areas and other things. So I don't think the IT environment has gone anywhere bad or something like that. That's what is my personal feel. As per how much I mean, like right now, I tried going for other interviews and companies as well, looking for how things are working out. And it looks like a lot of companies are still looking for people, talented people like us, and that's what is happening. I would like to call Jaga here for a quick second to explain how the scenario is there in UK with respect to careers and other things. Jaga, would you like to say some words on it?
I think you covered most of it, Praveen. Because everyone being student and they're in final years and they might be planning to come here, but I don't know. You sounds not very optimistic. Usually, everyone like sitting or working or studying in US and UK or Europe somewhere, they'll say, welcome to our country and study and grow.
No, I mean it is just this COVID situation. I was like bit concerned about, like, even see, not only the students. If there are like, say, out of the 20 people who have joined now, I'm pretty sure that at least 18 people would really love to come to UK at this point. But at the same time, thinking about the situation and think about their parents, they will say, no, don't go out of your house. That's what they will say, right? That's the reason I'm being like slightly, or if it was a normal scenario, I would say, please guys, you need to come and experience how the life is there in the University of Leicester, which is like a heaven for me. Like 4 years I studied in my in an undergraduate under a university affiliate college affiliated to Anna University, and I did work in TCS 3 years back in India, and then I came to UK. But I would say 7 years plus, let's say even 10th and 12th experience as well. 10 years of schooling plus with the 3 years of experience included is nothing compared to that 1 year I learned stuff in University of Leicester. Although we had classes only for like what, um, maximum 20 hours per week. That's the maximum hours of classes that we have. It's like every day half day for 5 days, Monday to Friday, 20 hours, 5 hours a day class. So it's like 2.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours in the evening averagely. So if you see that, it's not much compared to what you do in India, right? So in India we have like what, 24/7 classes. So it's almost like that right now. But even though the number of classes, the amount of classes in university is like, in Leicester at least, is like 20 to 25 hours per week, which is completely like, very very small compared to a lot of um, different universities or different colleges back, whether it is in India or whether it is other than other places. I guess now the limit has been increased to at least like maybe 30 to 35 hours, not more than that. But still it's quite low, but in that time the amount of knowledge you gain is like really extreme. um yeah, and let's go on with the questions directly. So Shubham, do you want to speak up? Let's start with the questions from the chat. I'm just gonna ask them to whoever added the questions to talk directly. That
Yeah,
would be
hi,
a nice communication. Yeah, go on,
yeah.
Shubham.
Hi,
Do you
Praveen.
want to introduce
Hi,
yourself
Praveen.
as well?
Yeah, sure. I am currently working in a startup. It's in Chandigarh, and I
Mhm.
have been working there from past 2 years in Node.js technology.
Nice.
And basically, it's the company is basically their startup come services company, like a combo of both. Like they take client projects also, and they also have their startup. So basically, I started my journey with their product, like building that from scratch. I was a fresher at that time, so I took some help from my seniors also. And now, like, there are 2 to 3 members in the backend team itself, and like I am like working parallelly with them. Like they are junior than me, so I have the opportunity to like explain them and review the code. Like I do not feel like I am also an expert in that thing, but yeah, I try to help also in that thing. And like it goes from like building the business logic part, getting out the requirements from the manager, and then getting it end to end uh, finalized. So that is also the thing that I am currently involved in. And yes, coding is also there. So I work one project for the client and one is on their product. So this is like my introduction.
Superb.
So
And your question is on about like
yeah,
getting placed in UK or US companies for a 2 to 3 years
it's
experience person with Node.js
yeah,
background. Okay,
yeah.
should I focus on DS or algos or build great projects and learning front end? Okay, Shubham, what do you think is your passion? What is your passion?
See, my passion is I love to learn new technologies. See, for example, in Node.js only, I like to learn new things. Currently, like I'm working on microservices architecture that attracts a lot those things. But DS algos also, like if we understand that thing, that also like is interesting, but not that much. Like because we have moved into the development world, so the code we do that reflects upon the society. Like we can put in some sort of like difference to the society, so and that we can see visually also.
Yep.
So but DSL goes, we cannot see anything. Like we just have
Hey, you
to
know that you can
base.
actually visualize DS and algos actually.
Yeah, that is true,
I
but
was just kidding.
yeah, like the sorting algorithm, some of them we can like, but what I feel is like we can see the product being going online and used by the customer, so that's something interesting. And we
Definitely. I would like to say a few things about the work culture as well as the education system here compared to our country. The thing is, in UK, I don't think they are only the huge big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook. These kind of companies, the top tier companies, are giving a lot of importance to DS and algo. And moreover, another thing is, it is good that we started our career in India, because if you consider our undergraduate, we kind of learn a lot of things. For example, I learned, I mean, like most of us learned what do you call this, differentiation
Operating
and
system.
integration, and we generally don't
Yeah,
use
yeah,
anywhere, right? So we feel that it is kind of like disjoint and defunct, but actually these things are like, even I was like, shouting at people like, why should I even learn all these things and stuff like that. But later I came to know that all these things kind of like, make us prepared for the worst and the best as well. So here, they, even though the education system is like perfectly practical oriented, and you will be trained to do what exactly you will be doing, there is the, I won't say it as a flaw, but there is another good thing about our education system is that, for example, if you take DS and Algo, I haven't learned DS and Algo for the past. I mean, like, I don't think I have even learned anything in DS and Algo ever in my life. So this way, a lot of people have also asked me about like how much have you got an idea about competitive programming and dynamic programming. There was one more thing, functional programming, etc. I was like literally dumbstruck. Even though I've got like 10 years experience, I have like literally no clue about all those things. And the another good part about UK companies is they kind of focus on what they require. For example, if you are looking for, so I generally look for roles that are related to React JS and Node.js. So not much DS and Algo come inside that part. But the good part is, if I go for a senior technical consultant kind of a role, which is what is my next role about, I would be having this idea of like, how should I approach a particular problem. Those kind of problem solving capabilities will be given to you through DS and Algo. To an extent, it is important. It is just for your approach to problem solving. Since you're so you're already working, but since you're in the fresher stage, like 1 or 2 years experience in that stage, uh, if you try going into DS and Algo to an extent, that will really help you in the long run, but it won't be directly impacting you with the work you do. For example, I'll be mainly like into creating user interfaces, React components, connecting those things, deploying stuff, writing backend code where I'll be talking to the database, talking to the file system, talking to in-memory cache and something like Redis or something like that, those kind of things. But never ever I will be using DS and Algo in those kind of areas. But one thing is, if had I known DS and Algo, I would have done it in a better way. That's what I would say. Like maybe I would say like my efficiency or the way of thinking and approaching the problem
yeah,
might be different.
yeah. True, true.
And one thing you were also asking, yeah, it's always good to start something. Like for example, if you are very interested in the one thing which I would say here is, in UK at least, no one is caring about their certificates or any kind of certifications. So if you have got an awesome GitHub profile, let's say for example, what would be the best ideal role that you would be applying for? Let's say something like um, say full stack developer. Let's go with the full stack developer itself. So in that case, what people will be looking at, including the recruiter, there will be a technical recruiter, and there will also be the technical leads and other things. They all look for a practical experience. So how you have solved a problem or something like that. So these kind of things will be they will be looking for, and try to put a lot of efforts in creating different projects and showcasing yourself. This is how you market yourself. That's what I would say. Is Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So, can I ask one more thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I have seen the interview process, like for the junior roles, like for the 2 to 3 year experience people role, like there is a heavy weightage on DS and Algos part. Like if I take there are 100 companies, like 70 to 80% companies are more often focused on DS and Algos, because they say that we require a uniformity in the interview process. So how will judge a person? But as we move forward, like our experience grows, so the focus mainly goes to the project part, the design part, low level design and high level design. So if like we want to switch like at this particular stage, so like I feel that like DS and goes should be done. And what I also felt uh, when I was like I am doing from past 1 to 1.5 months DSN and goes, like I am working on my problem solving skills. So now if
Good.
I move to the I move to reading like the JavaScript basic stuff, so I feel that I can approach it better way and my brain works a bit more uh, like in
You
that part,
got the
like
answer here.
yeah. So like it was just a discussion, not a question, but just I was like, if you feel you can add upon something like to that thing.
Yeah, so I would have said the same thing, almost the same thing, where they generally look at the problem solving. And one thing which I wanted to ask you is, what kind of roles you apply. That also matters, because when you are applying for, let's say, pure front end roles, no one is going to ask you on DS and algo. If someone is asking a DS and algo question on a pure front end role, better don't take up the job. Simple thing. I mean, it's just my personal. This is my personal suggestion, but not even suggestion. This is what I would do, but let this not, like, influence anyone else. But this is what I generally do. Like, if there is if there is a work, a description, it needs to go with that. Right. Thanks, Shubham. Let's go with the next question, which is Sandeep's question, and I don't think Sandeep is here. Sandeep, are you here? So in this time, startup companies is good for working, or MNC companies? That's actually a nice question. um I guess I could leave this question to Jaga.
Yeah, I was thinking. There is, I think it's a very tricky question, and again, it will be specific startup and MNC company you're landing to. Okay, there's a very very huge gap between where you land, because startup, clear vision. People will have a clear vision, and when they start up, and only um, less than 5% of the companies in startup companies are successful. Less than 5. I would say it's 1 or 2%. They'll come with great ideas. But people are great and they have great talent, but reaching the market and finding a business is not easy, because the startup culture is everywhere now. And only who can manage to get huge investors and who have huge backups, financial backups, also with good network, they can succeed. It is not fully favor to startups. The environment is not fully favor to startups because of competition. One thing. The second thing is financial backups and other things, and their network in their domain or technology what they want to achieve. So it's challenging. There are examples where who joined startups, they grown up very very well, even become millionaires in short span of time. But they are exceptions. But same time, it's a debate. It's a huge debate where you live. But in typical Indian mentality, people always think, even you are being influenced by parents and your friends and circumstances. They always expect you to join MNCs. They think that is a safer bet
Okay.
compared with starting
So there is
startup.
there is
So I
what
think
what we
anyone
need to think.
can
What
add.
we need to
Yeah.
think is, we need to strike a balance between both, uh, the job satisfaction, at the same time, the job security as well.
Exactly. But for student perspective, because these days it's not uh, very hot for hiring or campus interviews in India and all those. I would recommend, if you get any startup company who can give you some proper experience, the work what you deliver to them, or they can give you some proper work um, during your education. Doesn't matter whether, but if you can learn something and you can get some experience out of it, I would simply suggest join the startups who gives you the right experience and right technology which you are looking for.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
that
Thanks,
way
Jaga.
you are experienced before you come into the market.
Yeah.
Sometimes pressure market is not good. That way you can in specific technology you done projects, you can be experienced in, you know, after, you know, as soon as you come out of college. So you
Okay.
will be for experienced jobs instead of fresher jobs.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Jiga. We'll go to the next question. What are your views on remote work and how do we get one? This is actually a good question. Thanks for asking this. So right now, if you had asked me this question, I would have said like, you know, like a crazy answer. But right now, it looks like remote work is going to be the de facto standards for the next couple of months at least. And the recent news from Microsoft and Google is they have asked all the employees of Microsoft and Google to work from home for the rest of the year, which means it's till December until this is a rule on both Indian level as well as US and UK. All these three countries, Microsoft and Google has announced, and lot other companies have announced that you need to work from home until the end of this pandemic or end of this year at the moment. So with this being said, a lot of remote a lot of companies are actually equipping the employees like developers for working from home, and we are also getting really good at, you know, like, see, this is the first time I'm going with live with webinar and other things, and I'm doing a good job, I hope. So there are a lot of improvements that's happening from our sides as well. So with this being said, most of the companies will not will be thinking of like investing less on the infrastructure rate, basically, so that maybe work from home might become a norm for the next couple of years as well. So people who are trying to go for work from home or remote work will be more benefited, and that would be a sought after option. And also getting remote works or getting a work is like it's like catching the fish in the ocean. That's what I would say. So there are like loads and loads of websites like services like Upwork, remote.com, etc. Those are like, you know, and freelancer.com, etc. So those, there are like two different types of remote jobs thing. So one is the ad hoc freelancing platform. Another thing is the remote jobs platform. There are like different websites which are related to remote jobs, which I will be able to send the links later after this webinar. I'll need to also find out. But there are, as far as I know, for now, there is remote.com, there is Upwork, there is freelancer.com, and well, even in LinkedIn, if you have if you see, a lot of people are trying to post jobs and they are looking for developers if they can like work with them part time, like, you know, something like cash in hand or something like that. Nothing, no contractual agreement or anything, just hey, hey Jaga, I need a small favor, like this is what I'm kind of trying to develop, and can you please finish this for me, and I'll give you like, let's say, 10,000 rupees for this. So those kind of things will happen a lot in LinkedIn. So that's something which is possible. So that's what I would suggest. I hope that is good. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can actually, oh yeah, yeah, so that's
Yeah,
that's the thing.
what is the conclusion about, you know, for students, because most of them being students, they want to some people want to come abroad, and what is your conclusion coming, and how?
Coming abroad is not the question here, but yes, coming abroad, let the pandemic get over. But at the same time, please keep on trying to market yourself in a better way. So, for example, whenever I come here, let's say I'm going for a new company or anything, the first thing I would do to the recruiters is like ask them to like go to my website. This is my website. So, if you go open praveen.science, and that's gonna show up my website. This is my website. So I'm a cat lover, I'm a cook, I'm a, what do you call this, cloud computing enthusiast, I'm a mentor, I'm a web developer specialist. This is my quick introduction. And not only that, I have got like a huge social presence in different sites. So in simple terms, when a recruiter talks to me, I'm just gonna show him the website, him or her the website. So this is my website currently. So it has all my details, education, and I do have a quick portfolio which shows what all things I have done. And I am also a technical blogger, which also gives my gives them an idea of like what I'm working on and those kind of things. Then apart from this, what I generally do is I'll ask them to, like, I'm applying for developer jobs, right? So if they go to my Stack Overflow profile, and what I would just generally ask them to do is go to my activity and have a look at their tags. So this is what I'm actually good with. So this is one thing which, sorry. Yeah, so this is exactly what I generally do with almost all the recruiters. So see my profile. This is what I am, and this is how things are, and this is what I'm capable of doing, etc. So this way, there will be a clear idea for the recruiter as well, and then there is a clear idea, right? There is a clarity there. So this is one way to approach people. Sorry, I guess I actually uh, hijacked myself to something else. What was actually the question I was talking about? So it's about Jaga. You were asking
Sir,
something.
Yeah, no, I was asking something about, you started generally, how these UK companies and working culture.
Right. So yeah,
And,
so this is something which you need to do, guys. So everyone try to create a portfolio of yourself, like whether it is going to be a website or whether it is going to be GitHub projects. Open source contributions are really valued nowadays, in whether it is in India or whether it is in UK or whether it is in US. Your GitHub contributions, your Stack Overflow contributions, they are all valued to a greater extent, so that with that itself I keep getting a lot of jobs. GitHub has its own job portal. Stack Overflow has got its own job portal. So those are a few things which I would say it's actually better. This is a way to get into UK, like companies in UK and US, etc.
so you see a huge difference the day you came for graduation and secured a job and the current environment.
Definitely, yeah. There is a definite clear race in the way people, how recruiters actually recruit. So the first time when I got a job in Accenture, I had no other options, literally. But right now I've got like plenty of options. Like this is yeah, it's grown to a great extent. Right. Let's go to the next question.
sir,
Um,
now
yeah, Safan.
I can
Hi,
ask.
go for
Hi,
it.
sir. Uh, just sir, just I completed just React and want to go further. So what should I do?
So you've completed your bachelor's undergraduate, right, in computer science?
No, I'm yes, sir, but I am in third year student. I am
So what
not
is your
completed
passion
yet.
about? Like, so the one thing which I say everyone is follow your passion, and currently the trend is really going towards full stack web development or full stack application development. So are you interested in that?
Yeah, my passion is also full stack developer to be a full stack developer
Okay. So
and
yeah, what all technologies are you good with?
HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or Bootstrap, React, etc.
So right now, if you see the MERN stack, like ERN stack, React and Node.js stack, it has a huge, like a huge um, opportunity at the moment. So definitely that's going to be a good way of going forward. And also there are like loads of people have asked me what is the good path to learn React.js and Node.js. Okay, this is a good question to start with. So for learning React.js, first thing we need to understand is React.js is a front-end library, not a framework. So it has only the front-end parts. How many of you have how many of you here know what jQuery is, and how many of you have used jQuery? You want to use that? There should be some kind of a reaction thing. I don't know whether it is there. Okay, it's not there here. So use the comments. So how many of you have used jQuery or heard of jQuery?
I'm also used it before.
Okay. So looks like a lot of people have actually used it, and also a lot of people have heard of it. So jQuery is a JavaScript library. It's just a library, guys, and you just need to like include it, and it does a lot of DOM manipulation. That is the main thing which it's gonna do. But at the same time, what happens is, in case of React, it is again similar to jQuery, but not exact. And I might be wrong in this place. Anyone who feels that I'm wrong here, you can actually correct me. Angular is a framework. Vue is also a framework. So these two are completely different to what React is. React is just a front-end library. And the good part about React is it has its own ecosystem using Node and other things, and that helps you in getting your whole development environment set up, the live reload, and the complete, like how Angular as a framework exists, the same way you can set up the whole thing in React using Node.js as the package manager and runner. Here what happens is, once you compile the whole React application, you get it compiled into a small library file, which you can embed it in any of your websites. Like for example, if it is a static website, you can use React. If it is just a React website, you can use a React SPA application. If it is like say something totally different, like a WordPress or like something like a CMS based website, you can also embed React in that. So to that level, React is very flexible, whereas it is not the same case with Angular, I guess. If anyone has like, if I'm wrong, you can correct me, because I haven't worked with Angular. And one more thing is, Angular wise, the learning curve is a bit steep compared to React. React wise, it is very easy. Like it's very smooth. You easily understand things. If you know HTML and CSS, you will be able to understand React very nicely. You might need to have this small hiccup. You may have the small hiccup before transitioning to from JavaScript to JSX, which is the React's basic language. But after that, once you are good with JSX, you will soon start creating applications and like start creating components and other things, and that will keep you going. So that's actually a good one. So with respect to the question, so how do I get into React.js and Node.js? So first thing, if you are not a front-end developer, I'll tell for people who are not a front-end developer, and then for people who are front-end developers who already have a bit of experience in front-end technologies. For both of you, this will be working out. Okay, so for people who are just new to front-end development, a few things you need to get, like for people who are just entering the development phase. Let's say a lot of people here are students, right? For a lot of students, how many of you know what exactly is happening in the companies? We all follow a particular software process methodology. One of the methodologies are agile methodology. So that methodology is right now like booming like anything. Inside that, there are like two different methods: agile scrum and agile kanban. Agile scrum has like a weekly sprints and other things, and agile kanban has like no sprints. You just pick up whatever task you are good with and those kind of things. These are just software development methodologies. The next thing is how your code is version controlled and reviewed. That is something very important in terms of quality and um, maintainability. So generally, one of the version control systems will be really helpful in this case. For example, if you can, if you know, there are these three popular version control systems. One is the trunk based SVN, one is Git, the other one is Mercurial. These are the three different types of version control systems available right now globally. But most of the companies are currently using Git as their basic version control system. So that is very important in terms of like, code reviews, code merge. When there are like more than two people working on a code base, it easily gets messed up a lot, right? So for that, we will generally use something like code reviews, pull requests, merge requests, etc. So I work on my computer separately. There is my colleague working on his computer separately. There is another colleague who works on her computer separately. All three of us are using different operating system. Nothing will nothing will actually affect the process, where we will be all using one simple containerization technique and one simple version control technique. With that being said, it's easy for everyone to collaborate and communicate with each other. And then, so one of these containerization technique and version control techniques might be useful. So something like Git and GitHub should be working out for you. The next thing comes the front end topics. So front end topics, you have something like starting with the markup, whatever you see, whatever the content you see. So the content will be the markup, which is HTML basically. And you have all the basics of HTML, like, semantic HTML. Then you have different types of tags and other things. There is not much to learn in HTML, but you need to know the basics of it. Then moving on, this would be a tricky task for people who are working with backend. But even though it is a tricky task, it is not very much impossible. It is highly possible to easily learn CSS. CSS is one of the major things that is sought after in the UK. So UK wise, UK government is very much conscious about accessibility. There are a lot of people who are not physically accessible, who are visually impaired, who cannot hear, who cannot talk, etc. Right? So for those people also, we need to make sure the websites are accessible. And for people who are using screen readers and who are visually impaired, they will be using something like a Braille system and stuff like that. So those kind of people should also able to access the websites. That's what people, that's what the UK government says. And we use something called as Web Accessibility Initiative, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.0, and we are trying to follow the AAA accessibility standards. So this is something which is very seriously debated in UK Parliament and other places for all the companies as well. For example, I was working with an insurance company. I guess most of you have heard of AXA insurance, right? So those kind of places, there will be like a lot of accessibility kind of things. So those kind of things are a bit of required in this country, or moving forward, even in India, they will be starting to implement all these things. Then proceeding further, there is CSS. In CSS, it's going to be very like majorly five different levels, I would say. The basics of CSS, like how you set the dimensions and stuff, how you set the color, how you set the background, etc. Then comes the box model. This is a bit tricky, but it is easy to understand. So go with the next one would be box model, how the different border box and content boxes are actually used upon and stuff like that. Then the next thing is the three main properties in CSS. Number one is the display. Display is a bit easy. There are like two major display models. One is the inline and one is the block. And then there is this one called inline block, which is mainly used for images and other things. Then comes the floats. Floats are like, if you want to float something on the left or right, or you want to clear the whole floating scenario, that you can do it using floats. Then the third one is positioning. Positioning is actually tricky. So you need to use the relative position, you need to use Z indices. Then what else I could say? Sometimes if you do the overflow hidden, the positioned elements will be getting cut off, etc. Those kind of things also happen. So these kind of things are a bit tricky in the CSS part. Then moving on further, you have responsive web design, which has been a lot talked about nowadays. So a basics of responsive web design, media queries, what are all the different responsive breakpoints, those kind of things are really good in this case after this. So once these two things are done, your front end basics is completed. So you know HTML and CSS to an extent in a decent way. And then let's move on to JavaScript. JavaScript, the basically what are all the different data types, what are all the different functions, built-in functions, then objects, arrays, functions, symbols, etc. Then later on moving it to a bit of advanced JavaScript, where you will be using control statements and um, object mappers, etc. Then the next thing is the next level of JavaScript, which is ES6 to ES2020. ES6 is nothing but the same. Whatever we are using JavaScript is not actually JavaScript. The standard is ECMA script, ECMAScript, which is created by European Computers Manufacturers Association, ECMA. That's the thing which is where JavaScript is brought in. And the good part about JavaScript is actually open source. How many of you know this? If you have a great idea in JavaScript that needs to be implemented, what you can do is you can send a proposal to this technical committee 39, TC39, which actually has a 5-step process. I'll explain about the 5-step process later on a different video, or like by the way, I've got my YouTube videos in, let me send the link. So all these things are there in the YouTube videos. I have actually explained a lot of things in there. And yeah, so those are a few things that I was trying to say. So these uh, this is about JavaScript, right? Look, like ECMA script. ECMA is the Standards Association, and they actually create the JavaScript standards to make sure everything is working fine and stuff like that. So ECMA script is the JavaScript, and ES6, ES7, then ES 2019, ES 2020 is the latest version. Every year it is getting changed. I guess every 6 months once it gets changed. So these are a few things that we have been working on. And if you know the basics of ES6 and try to kind of like master it, you can be the most laziest person possible. You just need to write one single line of code and you can achieve a lot, which is not possible in the JavaScript in olden days. ES6 is making us a lot lazier and efficient. I would rephrase it to say like it makes us a lot more efficient than before. So that's one thing which I wanted to say. And apart from this, the next thing is, once you know HTML, CSS, JavaScript, ES6, you can start with React.js and Node.js. So these are the two things which actually is really good with how to work and stuff like that. So React.js is the currently trending framework right now, library right now, which actually outbid even Angular and Vue as well. Vue is kind of like competing with React. The only reason is there are a lot of people who are coming from the Angular background, so they feel it very comfortable with Vue. But if you are starting new, something like totally new, I don't know React or I don't know Angular, I would suggest go with React. I guess there are a few people who will be able to, like, explain in their own words. I guess Nikar is here. Nikar, are you here?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, do you want to say so you started, you are a person who is from a machine learning and
Data science background.
data science background. So you just joined React, and I would say, Nikar, you are an expert in React at this point. So can you tell me your quick journey, how you became an expert from like zero to expert?
So I think it's a very comfortable, place where, like React is very easy to learn. So if you know the basics of HTML, CSS, you'll definitely have a lot of interest into developing things through React. And I even tried, Angular and stuff. So, but I thought that I should, maybe I was not able to get it or something, but I tried, I started learning React and it was so easy. And I think I know it at a good stage. Like I'm at a good stage where I could say that I could, develop something. So I would say your YouTube videos are of a lot of help and I learned a lot from them. Okay. And so yeah, I mean, those are of great help. All the tips you share are amazing. And so yeah, it was amazing to learn from you.
Thanks, Nikar. And thanks for you sharing your experience as well. That actually helped a lot of people, I believe.
But in a quick one, sorry, how long it took from when you say zero to master, how long it took? What was your background? What was your basic understanding?
That's actually a good question.
So
because it's not about your achievements and pricing here. More people are in your zero level, and they want to know.
Yeah, what were your initial struggles? That would be really helpful in this case.
Yeah, what do you know already about front end when you started? When you say it's your zero.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that would be add more
guidance
to these people.
Absolutely. So I would say that if you know the basics of HTML, CSS, a bit of JavaScript and like stuff like that, you'll be able to ace it easily. Like it took me 1 week, you could say, and I practiced it thoroughly. I had ideas of creativity and design, and I had something in my mind, and then I had to implement it. So I started with a basic knowledge of HTML and CSS and JavaScript, and React made it very easy to learn, and if you have something in your mind, and you can create it easily using React. So yeah, that's the basic necessity, and you'll definitely be able to ace it, I would say.
But Nika, don't think everyone is same as you, because the hard work you put is, I can't explain how much time you spend with coding every day, and how much time you take, learning new technologies every day. How you manage your time, it's really phenomenal. And I never seen a student taking this much dedication to learn something. Before, end of third year you're in, not even final year, but the time you're spending between many people, colleges never allow them to spend time in what they like to do, but somehow you're really able to manage. Because my days in college, they'll expect you to finish all your assignments and internal exams and all.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Yeah, it
Thank
is
you
not.
so much.
No,
So
I'm telling I never seen someone like you who spent a lot of time while they are studying in college and university, BTech or something in sixth year, end of third year. The time you're spending is very phenomenal, and nobody, in my experience, have had such a long time learning many technologies. You are learning 6 technologies in a day. That is really good.
yeah.
And you are awake throughout 24 hours somehow. In between, when you have time, you're eating and sleeping for a short time. That is really a huge pain you're taking. But I don't think anyone can manage to learn from zero with basic HTML CSS understanding to become a master in React, and get appreciated from Praveen.
So
Who is
I wouldn't say that I'm a master, because master is
No,
someone
you are
like
good
Praveen.
at your experience. That's what he's able to.
Yeah.
And they
So
say
like,
master.
Praveen is a master. I'm like, I'm not even 1% of what he does. Like, he is tremendous. So I'm just learning. I would like to say it's the
See,
peak
it's
time
you
for
can't
all
you
the
can't
students.
you can't obviously compare me with yourself, right? Like
No way, it's
Yeah,
not a
exactly.
comparison at
exactly, but
all.
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
that's
about the
not a
comparison. There is
comparison
no
with you.
comparison that needs to be happening here.
Yeah.
Like it's about
Yeah.
so what would you say for the new people? Like there are a lot of people who are asking
Yes.
for best resources to learn and stuff like that. So what would you say? So the main reason is I could have said this myself, but I would ask someone who just started it and they mastered
Yes.
it. That would be more impactful than I
Right.
telling it.
Yes. So I'd like to suggest everyone, everyone is a student like me, right? So this time, I think it's the most precious time of your life where you can build your career. So never waste your time at all. Like, I learn a lot of technologies in a day. Every time I struggle a lot. So there is Stack Overflow, which is also like, Praveen is excellent in solving doubts over there as well. And so yeah, you can Google everything. In today's world, everything is available on the internet. It's just that you have to sit and do it. Every kind of course is available. Okay, you go to
Absolutely.
GeeksforGeeks. Yeah, you go to GeeksforGeeks. Everything, it's such a sorted platform, I would say. I learned a lot thoroughly. If you want any sort of help with your regular subjects in your college, GeeksforGeeks is the best source you can ever have. Then there are so many online platforms like Udemy, Coursera, Udacity, where you can pursue all the things. And not even though, if you don't want to subscribe them, I would say just go to YouTube. There are so many sources available. Like, I learned a lot from the sessions that are provided by Praveen itself. So it's just that you just don't have to waste your time, and just plan that whatever technologies you want to learn, and just sit and do it. It's just about that. Okay. And it's the prime time that you should, I would recommend highly to, utilize this COVID period, since not much activities are happening. So you have a very golden time, which no one can ever have had. Like, in past history, no one has had such a time where you can prepare yourself, prepare for interviews, prepare for any tech stack that you don't know, and now you can build everything from scratch. Okay. So I wouldn't say that invest all your time, have fun, watch Netflix, watch whatever, but at the same time you can study also, and you can make the best out of this time. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Nicole. It's been really really good guidance. Honestly, when a few years back or 5 years back, when we had the same YouTube and everything, if you want to learn some new technology, if you type something in Google or YouTube, nothing will comes up. So there is no these many mediums, and the problem is
Yeah.
the technology evaluation. Everybody got all the good things and bad things. Bad things means are not actually a bad thing. Things which take our time, like in news,
Diversions.
on the Facebook,
Exactly.
WhatsApp, or
Exactly.
these TikToks and all those nonsense.
Social media,
Actually,
entertainment platforms. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
there are
agree.
platforms which actually easily attract us. We don't actually explore to learn. When 5 years back, when we wanted to learn something, there was nothing available in online. Even any specific software, proprietary software, products, they used to have credit, something called credits. Say for
Right.
course or the Pega, what I used to say. Everyone, you have to pay $150 in order to get some videos from them. Even you are certified in that particular technology tool, you have to pay them to access their repository for e-learning repositories. But these days
Right.
they made it free because everything available online. Everybody become like mentors after certain time. Thing is, these days the problem is there are too many sources when you type something about React. The problem is
Yeah.
too is the complex thing. 5 years back, there is nothing available. You have to kind of there is no or anything is this much interactive. Now too much information available, but people has to use it right way. That is the
Right. Exactly.
um,
Okay,
people
so
to
sorry.
focus and use it right way.
Right. The next question people have asked us, like right now, a lot of them have actually completed React. What should I do now? Okay, this is for all these people who have this question. The best thing which Nikar and I did was try to create an application which we think that solves our problem. So recently I was having
Mm-hmm.
this issue of, hey, what was the recent issue which we solved with creating an application and also like adding it. So we can actually say about the teaching platform which we created. Just so we
Yeah.
myself, Jaga and Nikar, and then uh, three more developers together, we created a complete teaching platform, like a teaching solution. Nikar, you don't need to
Yeah.
say the name here. We are not supposed to say that, but yeah,
Yeah.
other than that, you can tell all the features and everything we actually implemented it. And one more real reason how Nikar became one of the most successful in React is, I'm just going to say successful because you are. The reason is he started like, so we both started together on working on a small platform, which quickly grew to a big one. And it demanded a lot of different things. For example, it needed live chat facility, it needed something like routing, it needed something for
Yes.
responsive design. Go on, Nikar, explain.
Yes. So I would say that, whenever you learn theoretically, it's good, but the best way to, adapt that particular tech stack is to make make something out of it. Like make a small project, start with that and try using, like apply it somewhere. Practical knowledge is way more important. Okay. So that's what we did. I mean, I'm very grateful to both Praveen and Jaga for like helping me out in this thing, and whatever I am is because of them only. So that platform that we made was an amazing learning for me, where we started from scratch. Like we had designs and then we had to like build everything from our own. Okay, so starting from like SCSS files, HTML, JSON files, everything was done by us. We
And one more thing
uh,
which we actually found out was it was very easy for us to use DRY principle, don't repeat yourself principle, which actually the main base of React when you try to create components, reusable components.
componentization.
And
Yeah,
also SCSS does the same thing, like creating functions and
exactly.
other things, mixins, repeaters, those kind of things. So for people who are asking like what should I do after knowing React, try to create your own application, your own product. Let's say a lot of people will say like if you want so there is no financial um, limit or commitment with you right now. So if you want I'm going to give you a free computer, okay, Do you want a Windows machine? Do you want a Mac machine? Do you want a Linux machine? Do you want a DOS machine? What would be most of your answers? I believe those people who are okay. This is for people who know about all the 4 different applications, 4 different operating systems. I'm pretty sure that most of you will go for either Windows or Mac. The reason being, and I would say between Windows or Mac, it's going to be people who have actually used Mac and Windows both together. They would say you want to go with Mac. The reason being, the quality is so good. At the same time, the performance, the efficiency, the problems that it solves, everything is really good. The same way, try to come up with something. Like, for example, you will be seeing like, okay, what is this? I mean, I can't say anything like that right now in a public place, but still, there are a lot of different applications out there in the website which are really helpful. But at the same time, you find that it is very badly designed, poorly designed. The user experience is really bad, etc. So try to come up with a solution for that. A lot of companies, a lot of products will have their open source API available, or at least to an extent you will be able to get the API after a registration with an API key. Try to make use of that, and then try to create a product of yourself which actually talks to that API. Where, for example, this is not true, but I'm just telling, like a couple of years ago, when LinkedIn was just getting the traction, the user experience on LinkedIn was completely very bad. Now recently they have completely revamped the LinkedIn user experience and everything, right? So LinkedIn is completely not the one which we saw like a couple of years ago. So that actually was created by someone who is a freelancer. Then he just gave a, like a Rebound, or like, in Dribble they said like, see, this is the new concept of LinkedIn which I have in my mind, and they actually hired that person. They did all the UX and other things. This is what I heard from my friend who is currently working in Microsoft. But this is one of the inspiring uh, like stories which I heard. And well, you can do that as well. This is one of the good things which you can do. Right, moving on to the next question. It's from, okay, it's sent to me privately. I believe that DSA is more focused on the product based companies rather than service based companies like Accenture and Infosys, etc., which is true. Yes, it's not a question, but that's what they have said. Yes, DS and algorithms are like mainly focused on product based companies. Yes, not in the service based companies. um, the next question by Karthik is, nowadays they ask for system design questions. Should we focus on that? Jaga, can you answer this question as well?
Come again? What exactly?
Nowadays they are asking system design questions. Should we focus on that? How important is system design and
No,
other
when
things?
they say system design,
Mhm.
what sort of system they're designing? Is
Karthik, do you want to answer?
it a
I mean,
web
like,
application? It is enterprise application based on Java, or it's some cloud application. What exactly the design? Because design means very generic
okay.
thing. A business analyst or a business requirement business people can also design a product, which
Mhm.
means design the
I
functionality.
believe this is the system design. He's talking about system design.
When they say system design, again, it's key responsibility of a technical lead or architect or consultant. Yes,
Right.
you developer or an entry level person or a junior developer, you should understand the design,
Mhm.
but you can't actually design. Yes, you can design if it is a basic small application. It is not a big project or program, but it's a tiny module. You can still work on design. But it is
Okay.
all about, when you say design, you should have the knowledge of the one key point is like Praveen told, never repeat yourself. Is it?
Yep. Don't repeat yourself. DRY.
Yeah, whatever, those frameworks, each technology has its own frameworks, like Java, you have to, they built in a Spring framework in Java, and they use various frameworks in each technology. So you should understand in-depth understanding of the framework and underlying infrastructure, and the whatever other components involved in the server side, or whatever, where the system installed. You need to know everything in order to give a complete good design.
Okay.
Mostly responsibility will lies, if Praveen gives you a job, say Nikar is able to understand the functionality, the design, and able to pick up the work. As an entry level person, most of your job will be like, somebody giving you the design. All your challenge will be understanding the design. Most of the time you never understand the design, why Praveen designed like that, and he may ask you to build a small page or functionality, you will simply build it. But at the end of the project, if somebody comes and asks, okay, Praveen implemented that functionality, and can you build it? You will be, most of the time, most of the developer will say, no, I have no idea what is the framework he built. Yes, I did a project. He said, you're a good developer. I was, very happy. But, you never know complete design of the thing, because entry level, you might not worry much about design. But, at least if you can't design, that's not your fault, but you should understand the design. That is the thing. System design is a not simple thing. It will take time to you become excel in it, and it needs an experience and understanding of whole system, whole ecosystem where you're working. It is not just simply the day one you start in design and build a whole, you will build a whole application and do your magic.
Okay, thanks, Jaga. The next question is from Shubham Goyal again. What is the difference in the interview process for India versus UK companies? I believe most of you have got the Indian experience. I'll talk about the UK companies because I would be the right person to talk right now, because I've been attending like at least 100 different interviews for the past 2 years. So most of the interviews have very much verbal interviews. They are all very verbal interviews, mostly for the technical. I mean, I'm talking about the experience positions. For people who are freshers, maybe again I'm gonna ask Jaga to answer that question for freshers. So I'll talk about the experienced persons right now. So people who already have the experience in certain fields, what they generally do is a lot of things here are going by trust basis. The first step in any of the UK companies is going to be a shortlisting and screening phase. So here your CV will be shortlisted and screened, whether this will be okay for going to the next level. Okay, so should we consider this person, this candidate or not? So that would be the first shortlisting. So your CV already says a lot about yourself, right? So what all technologies you work on, what all technologies you have worked with, etc. And this is the first stage, and this will actually help them in like clearing out a lot of different people from different backgrounds and stuff like that, to focus only on the right talents. The next thing will be a test, written test in the sense it is going to be inky pinky ponky, multiple choice questions, where you will be having like a list of websites, list of questions, and you have multiple options for one question, etc. So those kind of questions will be a lot related to what you will be working on in the future in the company, and also at the same time it will also help you in help them in understanding what your behavior is in some certain companies. So this, some companies, what they do is their multiple choice questions will be in a slightly different way. Like some will be behavioral, some will be MCQ on the technical aspects, and some will be like take home assignments where you are supposed to do something and then bring out something. Once you pass from there, the next step will be the recruiter talking to you in a normal casual way. What are you doing? What have you been doing so far? How's your mom, dad? Like something like very personal, casual talk will be happening, and then the next step will be a call with the technical lead. So in this first, no normal casual talk, they will be trying to understand how is your behavior and other things, I guess. Then the next thing will be the technical lead will call you, and then they will have a phone interview or a Skype interview or Zoom interview or something like that. In this part, what happens is you will be asked different questions related to the work, but there will be no wrong answer. This is kind of moreover, because you have done the test, they know that you are the right person for this role. So they know that you can do the work. So now there is nothing else like going back or anything, but you will be asked a lot of questions related to how you will approach a problem, what kind of a thing you like, etc. It's about how you fit to the team. It's called as a team fit interview mostly. The next level will be a client interview. It may be technical, it may not be technical. It's about so this is only in the service based companies, where there are, like, when you are going to be deployed to a client location or like for a client project, at this point of time you will be asked a couple of questions with the to the by the client, who actually pays the company and the company pays you, right? So that kind of thing happens at this moment. And once you are done with this question, finally the tech lead comes and says, hey, this is your offer, this is what we are planning to give, is that okay? So 90% this is what happens in the UK, and this is what is my experience in the UK as well. So it will be mostly take home test and MCQ, then a couple of calls. There could be like for the London role which I had even like pair programming session and all, so even that might happen. And yes, and after that you'll be given the offer, and you will be given some time to accept the offer, and then things will go ahead. Let's go with the any okay, any more questions, you can put it on comments. So the next question is from again, it's a private question. um, I have started brushing up my basics in JS. Thanks for conducting this event. I have a question regarding the type or standard of projects to be included in one's portfolio. Should they be CRUD applications or a simple web apps like to-do lists, planners, etc., while applying for a full stack role? Could you please elaborate on this? Okay, what I would say is whether it is a small application or a large application, whether it has all the features of JavaScript or whether it has only the first, like a hello world application or a to-do application, try to put all those things which you did yourself on your CV or on your portfolio, so that they know how you have started and how you are now. So some people actually look into that, even though you haven't done a lot within few, sorry, so even though you haven't done a lot, um, since a few people have few people will also look at how much you have progressed within short span of time and stuff like that. Based on that, you might also be selected on that. So my answer for this will be like, please try to put everything, that's everything whatever you did this. The next thing is, if we can talk over your expertise, like how someone can make way into MERN stack coming from different tech stacks. Um, yeah, this is actually a good idea. Good question actually. So the funny part here is I come from a PHP based background. So before I started my JavaScript journey, it was LAMP stack. So PHP and JavaScript has a huge relation in terms of like similarity, etc. So both are duck typing languages. They are not strongly typed. They are all, procedural languages, not object oriented. And there are like lots and lots of relations between a PHP as a language and JavaScript as a language. The other thing which I would like to say is, if you're coming from the other languages, let's say .NET, Java, Ruby on Rails, Perl, Python, etc. The first difference you would see is JavaScript is not a typed language; it's a duck typed language or a loosely typed language. In case if you are finding that as a difficult path or something like that, you can slightly switch to TypeScript, which is again a superscript of JavaScript. Sorry, oops, I forgot the superset of JavaScript, where you can use the same JavaScript things at the same time in your own way of using typed languages. But not exactly, it's the same thing. Like, how should I say? You will find it more easier to understand that rather than understanding the other things. Okay. Um, then apart from that, only the syntax, the semantics will be different in JavaScript comparing with Java. For example, in Java, you need to create a class file, and there is a lot different methods in running the application, like compiling it, then interpreting it. Those kind of steps are there. So only those things differ. Other than that, the writing code, which is the 80% part, will be the same. So I don't think there would be much difficult in adapting to a new language like JavaScript, which is fairly easy to learn. They used to say even Python is easy to learn, which I'm trying to do, but I can easily say, like, whoever knows the language, they can say that it is easy to learn. But yeah, so try it out, it's going to be simple. That's what I feel. How hard to get a job now comparing with your time of uni graduation? I guess I actually said this answer. um, how can we get a job in from Priyasha? How can we get a job in a product-based company through web development? Priyasha, if you are here, could you elaborate on this question, please? You can unmute yourself and ask, like, give some more information on this question. Okay, so as per my understanding, I will just try to tell. So web development jobs are like a lot right now, and the sorry, just a second. Yeah, so the work which I did, like the last company which I left is actually a product based company, and which is completely into JavaScript development, MERN stack development. They are actually a what do you call this? A company who is creating a product which is like Google Analytics for games, and we have a dashboard. They have a dashboard where where everything is like completely in web development, React JS, and the backend is Python. Being a data driven company, it's going to be Python and data science in the backend. So that's what the company is doing. And the good part about it is, like, they approached me, and it is because of the contributions that I made in Stack Overflow. It's not that I mean, like, there are lots of companies, they put their um, listing. So you do have a product-based companies list, right? So try checking out their careers website. Most probably the careers will have a lot related to how, what all the options available, what all the roles available, and if there is something that matches your skill set, please go ahead and talk to them. Tell that you're um, uh, a lot of companies will expect something like a cover letter and then a CV. So a cover letter is something that will help you in um, giving them what do you call this, giving the company good idea, like, like why you want to apply for this job and stuff like that. So that is one of the good ways to get into a product based company. Yes, again asks me, what are your views on Electron JS for building desktop applications? Okay, so Electron is one of my favorite applications, where you can convert your Node.js or any of your React JS applications, anything that is packaged or run by Node, into a software application for all three development environments, whether it is a Windows, a Linux, or a Mac. You can use Electron to build it and run. Even Electron provides you native applications for Windows Mobile, what do you call this, Android mobile and iOS mobiles as well. So this is one of the best way to, like, convert your web application into a real application. The only one part about this is, either your web application cannot be the web application cannot be a self-sustained application, like it cannot have a server inside it, but it can actually use a, it can be an offline application which will be able to store stuff and run stuff as a standalone application, or it can use the APIs to show the content for you. So this is what is my view, and it's actually really good in terms of, like, uh, packaging your application and sending it to different platforms. But my suggestion would be, like, I would be sticking with web applications because everyone is having a browser, right? But there is one more thing. Obviously, everyone is not using the Chrome browser, where a lot of things work and stuff like that. Okay, so that's what I would say. Um, in the UK, okay, so Jaga is asking me a few questions on uh, explaining about LinkedIn and no campus interviews in UK, freshers in UK, and how I secured my job in the UK. So these are like really good questions. Okay, first thing is, in UK everything is like do it yourself kind of scenario here. So there is no in Chennai, they used to say, like, the bonda tea technique. So they used to, like, the principal and the management used to buy in a lot of companies to come in to their campus to select the students, but nothing of that sort will happen here. University is for teaching. That's it. That's all they will do, and they are very strict with it. At the same time, they will also help you in learning a lot of different things as well. Apart from that, whatever you can do is like you will be given the freedom to do whatever you want to do. So telling about all these things, the one thing which kind of like concerns the Indian students is, you need to do, I mean, like we have been brought up in such a way that we are dependent on someone or other in this case. So for example, if you want to get a job, you need to look for com- colleges or universities that provide 100% placement and stuff like that. Okay, they will take care of me, they will take care of me kind of scenario. But in UK it is not the case. So what generally students were struggling is, they were not able to like showcase themselves or market themselves to get a job. That's the first thing. So in our universities and back in India, the college will market us, hey, see, we have got like so much good students, please take them, like kind of thing the professors will do to the companies, and we will be getting into the campus placements and other things. Whereas in UK, what everything is done by yourself. So but the good part about this is you can choose which company you want to go. There is no compulsion on like you need to go with TCS, Infosys, or Wipro or something like that. No offense to them, but that's what is happening a lot of times. Only most of these top companies are coming to the colleges for recruitment, at least the first two which I said. And if you are selected in the first company, you cannot get into second company, and those kind of things happen. So none of these restrictions are available here in this country. So that's actually a good thing to know about. And the next thing is like, you can no one is gonna penalize you for not getting a job or anything. At the same time, obviously it is your responsibility to get a job, and like you need to pay the fees or pay the rent or anything. So it would be nice to have follow your passion and get money for it, right? So that's one thing. And another thing is, here networking is the core thing. So if you have a proper LinkedIn account, it is the one of the best things that you can do to get your stuff sorted. And you can market yourself in a better way. That's number one thing. The other thing is about the interviews in the UK. I have already answered. Freshers in the UK, so what happens with the freshers is, it is widely known that like this, you don't have an experience, so you can't get a job. So you can't get a job because you don't have experience. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle. This is the reason I keep saying, please market yourself, please try to build a rapport. I could even now I could say that I'm the only person in the entire history of University of Leicester in the UK who has got a job, the internship, without a CV. So that's, even now I used to say, the university has been doing a case study on me. There are a lot of different things happening at the moment. So the main thing is the rapport between you and the three key people in a company. Who are the three key people? Number one is the people who are in the higher power. For example, CEOs, CTOs, managing directors, etc., who can give you a job. Number one. Number two is the technical leads, who have the real ability to either refer you or take you into the project. Number three, recruiters and HR. So if you can try to convince either of these three people, you are inside the job. So it is all about networking and convincing. So for doing a good networking, obviously you would require a perfectly polished LinkedIn account, and make sure you have been updating it constantly, trying to put yourself you need to keep showing yourself that you are dedicated, motivated, and you require less maintenance for making you work or something like that. And good part about UK work culture is, they don't pressure you or stress you. The maximum time you work on a day is maximum 7 hours. That's it. So 3 hours in the morning, 1 hour lunch, 3 hours in the evening. That's it.
Don't lie, Praveen. Indians tend to work 10 hours and 12 hours because they're less productive.
What to
That's
do?
what
Even
you
I am
think.
working 24 hours, but my
No, your
manager.
work is different. You work 24 different, but in general, uh, uh, like local people, they're really, sometimes I feel they're really skillful what they do. They won't oversell or undersell. If they say, yes, I know, I can do it, they'll do it. Otherwise they say, I'm not good at it. Even though they're really good, but they never have confidence that they can meet the expectation. They won't say I'm good. They'll say I think I can do it.
The good part about them is they won't overcommit.
Exactly. And I always see people the key difference which they like and they never like it with Indians are timings, because usually 9 to 5 or 9 to 5:30 is working hours. If it is 9 to 5, people generally like don't take long lunch hours. If it is 9 to 5:30, they'll take half an hour lunch hour at least, or 1 hour lunch break they can spend. And most of the people, they never spend outside like proper lunch and team lunch like Indians what we do. Even in UK companies, Indians, we go lunch into
Hey,
the
even in the company which I worked previously, they had my they had team lunch and all.
yeah, they'll have, but in general, this people, they never go for lunch outside of table. They'll try to have their lunch or quick lunch in outside with 5-10 minutes, or come back to their desk, buy something and come to desk. The idea is simple. They want to start early. If it is 9 o'clock starting time, they always come 8:30 or 8:45, not after 8:45. But they'll on the clock. If it is 5 o'clock closing time as per the employment offer, 4:59, they'll press Control Alt Delete. Which means not even 1 minute. They always try to go 1 minute before, because they'll say always I'm 15 minutes or half an hour they'll come early. Some people during summertime, they'll try to come 7:30 or 8 o'clock to office, because sunrise here is 4 o'clock in the morning from April to August or
Yeah,
September.
that's there.
Come very early, like
the
7 to 8 sometime, and they'll leave by 3 o'clock or 3:30, because they work as per contract, whatever offer. They don't be like loving the company or loving the employer. They don't do any polishing work. That way they grow well. But our people, they'll be relaxing. It's the same Indian mentality. They'll go for tea breaks, coffee breaks. If Praveen comes for coffee and I'll join him, well, come back, my another teammate will ask for coffee, I'll go looking my desk, and he'll say there'll be 10 messages while you get back to your desk. And it clearly shows one message started 10 o'clock. When you came 10:45, you already took 45 minutes of break. So that is the bad thing with Indians, and we have to correct our cultural mistakes.
Not only that, I would also like to stress up one more point. So here, even though they won't actually give you a chance to overcommit yourself, there are like most of the companies are following agile methodologies here, and every company will have their own rules and regulations, right? So in that way, they are also looking at like how much you can actually commit yourself. Those kind of things they will be looking at. And also, a lot of people have asked me about the scope of front end web development. It's very, very huge here. So more than back end developers, the front end web developers and data scientists, the roles are really good here. And people who are passionate on front end development, for example JavaScript, React is really getting a lot of traction nowadays. So last year when I was working, when I was trying to switch my job, the starting salary was 35,000 per annum. Now it has risen to 40,000 per annum. Like it's the average salary nowadays for freshers. So it depends on the company as well. It depends on the project as well. It depends on the size of company. It depends on the interviewer, interviewing style, everything. So this is one thing which I wanted to stress upon. Like the what do you call there is like loads and loads of scope on the front end development area. Uday Girish, are you still here? I want you to talk on the system design question which you actually raised. Will you be able to do that?
Answer well, or you have specific question, Uday?
No, he has actually given a huge explanation. So it would be nice to hear from him itself. Like Uday, please go on.
Hey Praveen, hi.
Hey.
Yeah. So actually, someone is asking about say system design, right? Like how to enter into system design and all previously. Like it was told, like only seniors will be doing the system design. I literally feel there is nothing like that. Like yeah, companies actually recommend seniors to be doing the system design concepts and all. What I feel generally is like you can learn it very well. Like it's not that great thing, okay, but it depends on like how much you are contributing. I was just giving a suggestion, it's not a question actually. Okay.
Okay, but yeah, uh, you have written a lot of things which would be nice if you tell to everyone. Like it would be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Okay, so
Yes, Uday,
what I
totally
was
agree. Before you start, thing is, yes, we see very bad senior architects or some people in same company for 5 years or 10 years. By the over the time they'll promoted senior level, given a role called architect or enterprise architect, those kind of fancy names. But their responsibility and ownership will lies on design. Even though we design as a very junior developer, we do good job. We know more than what he can do. Most of the time they'll take inputs from us, they'll get a suggestion from us, and they'll present it to the wider audience. But in general, what happens is the responsibility they won't give us much, because the company, unless we prove, they won't trust Uday his job better than 10-year 15-year experienced person. That is a political, little bit political when it comes to the some roles like program manager or design architect or a solution architect. They won't let someone with 2 years or 5 years or even less than 10 years experience to do the job unless you have a proven track. Once you proved you are better in that space, they never uh, block you. Like Indian companies, they always block young talents and everything. Okay, you're not supposed to do this, you need to come from that hierarchy. But in UK
yeah
world, they never worry. If you give something very good design which beats up everyone else's design and which minimizes the resources and maximizes the productivity, they simply don't care, they simply go with your design, and they're very open in that sense. But you can continue with your.
yeah. That's exactly what I meant to like what I meant, Jaga. So what I have is like it's been 1 year only since I entered professionally, but yeah, I'm into machine learning and data science especially. So I have been working on several projects like from my college, but I used to what you call guide teams, like which I am the team leader of the project and guiding them and then framing architectures for the even the school. I never felt like everything is a college project, like because all the projects which I did are what you call above 1 lakh or something like that from the college itself. So when I entered into industry, what I observed is what you have told exactly. So in India, yeah, there is an a thing like yeah, people do actually cut you off in the calls or anything like when you're discussing
They
about
won't value
architecture.
your intelligence or value your work you done past unless you really they have a time, a few minutes to spare with you and understand how depth in your understanding of technology and how depth you are good at designing. They really cut short you. That is a very bad thing with India, because the culture is really bad. The listening, there is a good listening, good speakers, right? We are very bad
Hmm.
listening. Indians are very bad at listening. Again, how we are bad at timings, managing time, same thing, we are bad at listening. But
Yeah.
once you put your ideas into good listener, they'll of course will appreciate, and they'll take you, they will be open to discuss with you. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So I was telling about especially I will go through the machine learning and cloud development stack, like how to become someone who can actually understand the architecture when it's happening, and how to actually start in the architecture side, like as someone asked, right, like how well we can actually what you call learn these concepts like system design and all from scratch without bothering people are minding or not like your ideas or something. So what I want to tell is like, let us take you're working on a part of the project. That's what I give a suggestion to anyone who is entering, even though I am not that experienced, but yeah, I do work on what I call clear certifications on cloud, all those things and all. Why? Because it only gives insights. Like some people tell like certifications are not prominent. Even I tell prominent, it's not that greatly prominent, but what it will help is to understand how the design any design works. Like what is the best design according to the company who designed it actually, like what is the best architecture. So what I want to put out is like, let us take you're developing some web development stack, which is a backend is like machine learning. So how you guys like so a machine learning engineer in an industry, like when he enters into the fresher stage, what happens is he will be working only on the machine learning sector. Otherwise, he will be working only on the what I call web development stack. But how do you come with system design? It won't be happening like you just concentrate on only on web development, or you just concentrate on machine learning. So you have to actually connect with people. That's the primary concept which I feel. So you have to connect with the developers across the several domains to understand what they're exactly doing. It's not like you don't have to go depth in every concept, but you can actually understand like what component they are using, and go on a quick home search and then identify what are the prominent factors involved in that component and what output they are passing to you as input as a developer to do that. So that is a system design. It's nothing but how well the data or how well the system flow, what you call system buffer data, whatever data is flowing in the entire concept. Okay, so it's just a visual representation of the concept, what you call are the ideation behind the solution. Okay, so I literally started like with GCP. Like I work on global cloud, I work on Amazon Web Services, and I work on Azure too. So I am a machine learning developer especially, but I have been working on cloud development. Why? Because as a machine like as we grow on, right, like the you sometimes people might feel like the senior architects might not be that great, because but you don't want to be one of them, right? So to become not to be one of them, you literally have to struggle. Like you have to know every concept and then learn every concept, like asking the developers. That is the primary concern. And the second thing is do certifications based on, or do courses like open source courses like Coursera, MOOCs, whatever. Okay, and then learn cross-platform learning. Like the primary concept is like the cross-platform learning. Let us take you are doing a machine learning, like I don't know, like I will be telling mostly under the machine learning. Sorry for that, because I am into that domain. Okay, so if you're concentrating on machine learning, don't concentrate only on developing a CNN. Okay, that is not needed for an industry. It's not needed only you concentrate on computer vision. Concentrate on some certifications or some courses, like you go on doing like how to deploy the specialization, like how to deploy the your models, or how to deploy your program. And after deployment, what are the post processing concepts? So all these things are there in every mock. Like there are several mocks in online. Like if you're concentrating on the machine learning sector or in the cloud development sector, what people do is like they concentrate, they do some course in machine learning, and then they go to data and deployment courses, and then they go to data handling courses. So once we learn all these paths, like the different components involved, pretty much like if you work on 2 or 3 projects, you can actually get the influence to connect these components. So once you're able to get these components done, you always draw what you are doing. Let us take you are doing some project which is very big. You have several components attached, and you are the one of the member in one component. So what you have to do is get all the 7 components list or several components list and write them down and how the data flows, and then understand, like make a flow diagram out of it. Then definitely I think this will be helpful in a long run, like to develop particular solutions or to give suggestions or to come out of the situation which you are in where your ideas were not accepted. That's what I want to tell Jagam and Praveen. Thank you.
Thanks, Uday. Okay, let's go with the next questions.
Good stuff, Uday.
Thanks a lot.
We will
Yeah.
connect. It's been really good that you've gone through those things. You are trying to understand the whole system understanding for the design perspective. I think it's very unique skill when you say design. Not everyone can learn all these basics of different technologies and get into this specific field. It doesn't this design thinking is not specific to a technology where you work, ML or cloud or any front end. It is like very vast area and very niche skill forever. So let's connect offline when we have some time. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
And the next question is about the UK tech stack. So what are all the tech stacks that's been given in the UK? Like currently we are looking for in UK is it's a pretty nice, interesting question where a lot of companies right now are looking into data scientists and full stack developers at the moment. And in the UK specifically, the community around machine learning, Python, AI, and ML, and the React side of things are also having a good traction right now. And a more you get a lot of more importance if you are also working with the, if you have an experience with the legacy systems, like for example Java, .NET, etc. It's not, I mean, if you want to work in the trendy stuff, there is always room for working with Node.js and React, etc. So, as Jaga, you are in the real field. What are all the tech stacks that you come across which are really important?
And Praveen, what is the exact question?
What are all the tech stacks that are needed right now in this country, and how people can actually hone their skills to get into that?
Yeah, okay. I mean, niche skills are in high demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these days, we are transforming from open source space into more focused cloud and data space, which means one side front end and full stack development is actually growing a lot. Too many number of opportunities in full stack developers and front end developers, whether it could be React or Angular or any other PHP or HTML5 specific, any kind of front end specialization is a very key, and which is very high demand market. Other dimension is cloud, ML, and data. Especially when you say data, it used to be 5 years back, they used to say everything is big data. Hadoop is a very hot skill 5 years back, and after they move everything in a hot and works and Cloudera moved, they gone. Everything moved into cloud. Now AWS and Azure and Google Cloud, three are major players. And if you leave this cloud space, now all the big data engineers, they call like data engineers and data analysts. They are a very key role. When they say data engineers, specific to Azure data engineer, AWS and Google Cloud specific data engineers. And other dimension is like, once you move out of data, then it is like analytics and machine learning and other proprietary tools. Like, we have SAP, Workday, and Salesforce, and all these kind of licensed technologies, which it is very specific and niche area, which you can't learn easily when you're college. Once you get into any IT companies, usually they'll train you and groom you and get you certified, and they deploy you the project, because these technologies gives you more opportunities in the financial sector and any key specific client spaces. But you can't learn everything like online, what we learn front end and other things. But all these skills you learn front end, full stack development or data, machine learning, data science, Python or any kind of programming language, they are like will be supplement what you're going to learn in your IT job in your first services company, if at all you placed into services company. So these are the key things. Mainly the data is very in high demand, which is like big data, and cloud specific big data is a very key market, and full stack development, and other thing is machine learning and data science. These are very key in the market now. Same time we have more, I'm seeing, because of the COVID and all those, many of the highly experienced people and who've been working with very big blue chip companies, they're available in the market as well. It's like, when something is niche, more people are learning quickly and getting into that space. So these are the generally a very good scope in near future. But having said that, all these technology stacks, every day it's changing. Something is very good today, because when you say data engineer, you won't just learn one technology. There could be a lot of things within it. You have to know each technology, each tool to do a specific task is keep changing and rapidly improving, or whatever a key buzzword in yesterday is no more a trend today. So you have to keep catching up with that to be a front runner in the market. So that is the key idea. But general thing is you should learn very basic essential programming languages like Python and all those, and you should be master in something so that you will have a confident and understanding that you can learn anything else easily. So that is the key areas. And if some people are specific to tools, I mean specific CRM, HRMS or ERP tools, you can even learn outside, and those tools specifically need certification and all those if you want to prove outside that you learned that, because they don't easily trust you that you learned Salesforce or SAP or those kind of technologies. They are anyway high demand, but you have to get certified. But other technologies like front end and full stack, they nobody care about your certification as long as you prove like GitHub on some projects to support your experience. So I think they are the key areas.
Thank you, Jaga. The next question is like, why do many jobs ask for WordPress? Yes, PHP is not yet dead, and a lot of companies are right now running on WordPress websites currently, and they are also looking for people who are skilled in working with WordPress and PHP as well. Laravel is another big framework that is written in PHP, and people are very much looking for talents and skills in that. So well, PHP at this point, it is not dead yet. And when Java, the main reason why a lot of new people, like a lot of companies look for Java roles is because it is a legacy. It is the same thing with PHP as well. Not only the legacy talks, but right now, if you see the company's marketing sites, the landing pages, the corporate websites, everything is running on WordPress and similar content management systems, which are written in PHP. The best example which you can give us Wikipedia. Wikimedia Foundation runs some a software called as MediaWiki, which is also running on PHP. So telling about these things, PHP comes at the disposal of our any of these shared hosting and other things, and a lot of people are trying to leverage that. So you get a lot of jobs which are related to WordPress things. So WordPress, as it says, that's the basic that gives you a basic understanding of how a content management system works, and that's one of the main reasons a lot of companies will be very happy if you know WordPress. Is that does that work out, Priyasha? You can unmute yourself and talk. Okay, so the next question is by I don't know the name. How to begin in open source for a fresher? Okay, so there is nothing that stops you from contributing to code to open source. The best free open source repository, not free exactly, like sorry, open source is free. So the best open source repository is found in right in front of you, which is GitHub, and there are like loads and loads of software which is available for our everyday use is actually open source. For example, jQuery, for example, React.js, Node.js is also open source. So all these software is available in open source, and obviously it is really not that easy to stand out by trying to give a source code like a suggestion to Node.js or any of these bigger projects, but start with a smaller project. There are like hundreds and thousands of different companies using GitHub for their open source projects, and you can slightly start with I know this is a wrong example, but try looking at if there are any grammatical mistakes. You can start with that so that you get an idea of how GitHub works and other things. There is this awesome company called GeeksforGeeks. They kind of create something called GeeksforGeeks Summer of Code, and they kind of try to train people who are new to open source to start developing stuff and start doing a lot of things in open source. So that's another good initiative. And finally, like, if there are, like, in GitHub, if you see the names of the issues, a lot of issues start with beginner friendly, first good issue, etc. Try to target them, try to see if you are able to if you will be able to work them out, and then in that case you can try working on it. So if you create commits and if you try to, like, put in your contributions outside, that will make you stand out in the market. So that's one thing. Then for others who have asked about my YouTube channel, I have actually sent out an email as well, and also I have put the YouTube link in the chat section. I'm sending it again. Then other questions are sorry, excuse me. There is a question from Safin. I'm not sure if he's still there. Okay, so Priyasha's question is answered. Then let's go with the next question, which is about in Google or Amazon, what kind of jobs are available for a web person. Definitely Google and Amazon both have web development related roles, so you can have a look at their careers website, and you most of the roles relate to site reliability is going really higher in demand, and that's actually good. Harsh Gupta, I already talked about the scope of front-end web development, only front-end development, which is me. So which was me. So even those people have a lot good, huge, potential and very sought after thing. Then GraphQL and Gatsby. That's one of the other concept that's being, like, a lot used right now. A lot of people are looking forward to work with Gatsby and GraphQL and Gatsby. GraphQL is one of the open source graph language, and that gets connected with what do you call this? Backend databases, and you can actually graph query all the databases in a simple GraphQL language, which is opposed to SQL. So how we had SQL and now there is no SQL, the same way there is, like, GraphQL as well. So graph query language is also there. Yeah, so that's something which I wanted to say. It is definitely in active need right now. And Priyasha again asks a question called how do you build a strong profile? So one of the best things which you should be doing is, like, make sure your LinkedIn profile is really good enough to have all the contents possible. Like, make sure everything is updated with the latest stuff. Whatever you try to do something new, please try to put it in LinkedIn and try to tell everyone what you have done so far. And the best thing is, like, try to have a blog, or even in LinkedIn there is something called LinkedIn Pulse, which is really really helpful in attracting talents and attracting recruiters in that way. So try to write your experiences, jot down a lot of things on what all things you learned every day. That actually helps you yourself in knowing, okay, so these are the things which I did last week, this is the one which I did this week. So something like that. It becomes like a daily journal or like a weekly journal for you. So that's one way to build strong profile. Try to talk with a lot of different people who are in the tech industry, or like who are like your role models or ideal role models. They will be able to, like, post a lot of different things. Try to follow their posts and see how you can do something on your own in that area. So that will also help you in that. And apart from this, the other question from Shubham is, like, are there any GSOC similar events or for experienced devs? Well, there is this one GSSOC, and there is RGSOC. There are a few things which I can actually add a few details about it. And apart from this, I guess I believe I have answered pretty much a lot of questions that's been asked in the chat. Is there anything else from anyone who would like to ask me any more questions, or it's 12 again? So should we stop it here, or we can, if you want to ask me anymore, we can go ahead for that as well. Okay, guys, it looks like we had a good session today and hope a lot of people are benefited by this. Please do follow me in YouTube. I have given the YouTube links, and if you are watching this on YouTube, well, this is a recorded version then in that case. So please do subscribe to the channel. And yeah, so I'm the only person I thought I would be never saying this, but yeah, I started saying this as well. So Jaga, you want to say some last words?
Yeah, you're trying to say like you, share you, subscribe you. Is
Yeah, I
hope
shouldn't
that
say that. I never thought I would be saying that because I
no,
hate.
I surprised. I never heard from you, but that is become conventional.
It has become the convention. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for asking such good questions. All this recording will be made available to you soon, and that will be going in YouTube live as well. So see you then. Have a nice day and have a happy Sunday. Well, sorry, it's Monday, right? Okay. Have a nice Monday then. All right, guys. I'll just wait for another 5 or a couple of minutes to see if someone is asking any questions, or else I'll just leave in like 4 minutes. It looks like everyone is starting to leave. Bye bye, guys. For those people who just joined, I guess we just concluded the session. So bye bye, and we will be soon meeting in the YouTube sessions. And uh, just a second, is there anything else I would like to say, everyone? I guess it's done, guys. So we'll see you all. Bye.